Welcome back to another edition of the Change My Mind podcast.
I won't change my mind because I don't have to, because I'm an American.
Yes, you are, and I'm Wesley Sykes. And through the other side of the ether is, I don't feel good about this, the librarian to my historian. It's Mr. Nicholas J. Esquire, quiet person for hire.
Oh, wow.
It's,
Why historian?
I don't know. I was trying to find another job where you would have to be quiet in, and the quick Google search that I did didn't really come up with much. So then I just was like, what's kind of synonymous with a librarian, a historian?
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
I'm still thinking like Indiana Jones when I think historian. So
yeah.
I don't know.
That's tough. That is a tough one. I appreciate the effort, but the only other thing, and I don't mean to poke holes because you usually do a great job with this, but I also
poke away.
I'm a history minor too, so I should be the historian.
That's a good point.
But you're not. I actually could keep track of my academic accomplishment.
Yeah. I would need your college transcripts beforehand here.
When was the last time you looked at that?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure if I really have transcripts to give. Like I don't. No job has really asked for that.
Never. I feel like maybe there were a couple applications I filled out over the years, like early on, like on Indeed or something, where they mention GPAs, but by and large, no one's ever really asked.
Yeah, I just put I'll put in what I remembered it to be, or like the GPA of my major, which was like almost a 4.0, opposed to like all the other extracurricular stuff.
Yeah. It's funny. That's how I was.
Make up, but it's like, what are they going to do? Are they, do people really follow through and ask for college transcripts? Like whether they're from like the college or like us personally? I don't know.
That's a good point. I'm curious if we have any listeners who faked their GPAs. Maybe you shouldn't tell us that on Twitter. I don't know. Maybe you can.
Yeah, well, it's all Twitter. You could be a Twitter egg.
Yeah, this is true. If you're, what's our who we got? Prison Mike, one of our followers. Yeah, maybe
That's right.
I don't know. That's how he
Hate
got
Mike.
Hate Mike. That's what.
Yeah,
Prison Mike is. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what are you talking about? No, I got something like that. Got a nice pen name, pseudonym.
Yeah, one of those.
Is that right? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
Moving forward, this week we are holding an exit survey for a prequel in the Quiet Place franchise, A Quiet Place Day One, starring Lupita Nyong'o, which I didn't even know that was Lupita Nyong'o until I was like listening to a review after the movie. It never clicked to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't watch many like previews or trailers for it or anything, so I just kind of came into this blind, and plus she's like kind of transforms herself.
Yeah, she definitely does.
She's so gaunt in this movie.
In fairness to you, I did know she was in it going in, so maybe that.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. You can just say it.
I wasn't going to say that, but no, she was she did a great job, and we'll talk about her, of course, plenty, along with Joseph Quinn.
Yes, who is perhaps a star in the making, right before our eyes here.
I tend to agree.
Intro question, making up one on the spot, Nick. If you had to go through a situation much like our main characters go through, but without one of the other four senses. So, we'll take sound already off the board, but the other four senses.
Oh, wow.
Which one could you do without?
So I'm sorry. So I got a little. So sound and one of the other things, or
yeah, sound we've already got here, and I guess we take off taste too because that doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I guess honestly, okay. I actually think this is really easy. You would do sound, and you would do. Oh no, wait a minute. Talking isn't.
And smell. Okay, all right. Would you rather go without sight or sound?
Oh man.
Didn't really think this question out all the way.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to go. This is a tough. Like, yeah, I don't know. I guess sound would probably be. I don't know. That's really tough. That's really difficult because I just feel like anytime you're talking about pulling sight out of the equation, like unless you're a daredevil, it's a major thing to overcome. I feel like if you have sight, you can kind of get past a lot of other stuff.
That's a poor question on my front. I was just dwindling away the options as we continued to talk it out. Now that I think about it, it's like you would be completely fucked if you were blind.
Yeah, and also I'm the dumbass here thinking that speaking is a sense, which is not. So because I was gonna say, I could just not do that. That'd be great if I was mute. Like, okay, but no, that's not one of the senses. So yeah, batting 1,000 over here today.
But some of the situations of sound, it comes up in, throughout the whole course of this trilogy, but specifically this movie, the whispers, like door creaks,
Yeah.
rumble of like stepping over gravel or broken glass,
Yeah, you mean, but this is where it's like you
ripping your shirt.
yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, that was messed up.
Yeah, that was kind of messed up. Kind of a
Yeah.
low blow.
Yeah, it was. But it's like my question is like, how long genuinely do you think you could survive something like this? And I think it matters where you are when it
Mm,
happens, because
of course, yeah.
if you're in a city, I mean, if you make it, a couple weeks, I feel like it's that you did a pretty good job. Like you have to like really isolate at first.
Now, so the interesting thing about city, and let's take away the fact this is on Manhattan and an island, but let's just
Mhm.
say like any normal city that's on land. Um, it's so dense that you can go in a lot of places and still kind of hide. Like you could be up in a high rise apartment like we see in this movie and get a little bit of refuge. But if you're in the middle of nowhere, sound travels so far,
Mhm. Yeah,
where we're
that's
like
true.
stepping on a branch or like leaves or something like that could be, a huge problem. But you're on concrete for the most part. Again, the rubble and the gravel, that could be an issue. But you do have like, as much as you're in close quarters, there's so many small pockets where like you might be able to do well.
I think hiding in a city at first would be harder, but then in the long haul, it would end up being easier. Because assuming that they start like if you survive the first couple weeks in a city, then there's a good chance that you'll be able to like survive it afterwards, as long as you can find supplies and whatnot.
Like
Because
food would be a big problem, right?
yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. But because when we get like in the original Quiet Place, I assume they were able to settle in, hunker down, and all this stuff because they're outside of a city, like they're in a suburb area,
Hmm.
or they were originally. But that's a little bit like easier, just because you would think they're not going to hit you there initially, and it's more spread out, so you can create some distance, all that kind of stuff. Easier to
That's
move your
true.
car around. So I mean, I'd still pick like a suburb or a rural area to be instead of a city, but maybe that's the question we should have asked. Where would you
Yeah,
rather be?
yeah. Well, we're talking it through either way now, right? Because
Mhm,
now it's like you see on the globe at one point in the movie where it looks like the woman who's listening to the radio, she's marking off the places of different attacks, and it's like mountainsides like Appalachia or the Rocky Mountains, like you'll probably be good. There's a
mhm,
lot of different. There's different seasons there, which probably isn't great if you're kind of living outdoors, living off the land.
right.
But you're by creeks, you have natural uh uh protectors in the mountains. You can
Mhm,
kind of like set your back up to the mountain, so to speak, and then kind of look out from either side.
mhm. And then it all comes down to like what's the scale of like the amount of aliens that we're dealing with too. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's obviously the biggest thing that it always comes down to, because if there's a limited number, or if we're dealing with a population that's similar to us, then it's like then then it won't matter where you are. They're more than likely going to find you eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 300, 7 billion, I guess, at that point, right?
Yeah.
That's yeah, that's a large invasion.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll talk about A Quiet Place day one in a little bit, but right now we have Nick's comic book minute.
Ah, a superb choice.
Yeah, pretty massive week for comics. From Marvel, we start off with The Life of Wolverine, and then Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu issue 0. So this is the third Moon Knight title that we've seen under writer Jed McKay. He's been crushing it with that character, and he's going to be doing X-Men as well coming up. From DC, we got Batman issue 150, and then from Image, where it's biggest this week, we got Radiant Black issue 29 and 29 and a half. So this is the Catalyst War continuing, the penultimate pairing of issues. Then we got Rogue Sun issue 20, Public Domain issue 6, Local Man issue 11, and Bear Pirate Viking Queen
Ooh.
issue 3, the final issue of that miniseries. As for TLDR this week, there won't be any What's New because Joe is traveling to parts unknown right now.
Mhm.
No What's New throughout the month because we're both going to be traveling, but we do have a Christmas in July event going on for our listeners. Started that with Kieran Gillen, who may be a familiar name to our listeners in general, to comic book readers, may be very familiar because he's
Starring Guardians of the Galaxy.
of course. But we're talking with him about the Power Fantasy and We Called Them Giants, which are his Image titles that are coming up. One is an ongoing title. The other one's going to be an OGN. So that's the first interview you'll get from us throughout the month. But there'll be more coming.
Bear Pirate Viking Queen. I probably remarked on this when you were talking about issue 2 or issue 1, but that has to be like a mad lib of names there. I might have said the same exact comment actually.
You might have. When we interviewed Sean Lewis, the writer for the series, he mentioned like him and the artist actually live near each other.
Mhm.
And they were just like shooting the shit, talking about their experience in the industry and blah blah blah. And they said like, let's just like, that's a title I would, they like the way they found it or came up with the idea was just, what is it you want to draw? He asked the artist this, and then these were the things he was interested in, and then they was like, that's the title, Bear Pirate Viking Queen. I would pick
I
that
like
up.
bears, I like pirates, I like Vikings, and I like queens.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's been fun miniseries so
oblige me.
far. Yeah.
I
Yep,
can
fun
get
stuff.
behind that.
That is it for the comic book minute this week, Wes.
Awesome. So let's take it away with the exit survey, Nick. What is the synopsis of A Quiet Place Day 1?
A woman named Sam finds herself trapped in New York City despite the early stages of an invasion by alien creatures with ultra sensitive hearing.
Yes, this is directed by Michael Sarnowski, written by him as well as John Krasinski, starring Lupita Nyong'o as Sam or Samira, Joseph Quinn as Eric, Alex Wolff as Ruben, and Djimon Hansu as Henry. But that's pretty much it.
Yep, pretty skeleton crew casting. And honestly, I forgot a few times about Joseph Quinn's first name. It was only easy for me to remember because Eric, Eddie both start with, and he obviously.
Yeah.
Lupita Nyong'o, I completely forgot what her name was throughout the entire movie. It's like, that's Lupita Nyong'o. That's all I knew her as. And same with like Ruben, I didn't know, and I had no clue what Djimon Hansu's name was in this movie either. So it's
apparently I didn't know this because I haven't seen the second one yet, but apparently he's in the second one, and that's like one of the few connections to the universe.
Oh, that's right. Shit. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, I do remember that now.
Because he's barely in this movie.
Yeah, not then it must be just to kind of connect the dots a little bit. As for the box office and critics reception, this has hauled in 98.5 million worldwide, including a 53 million domestic opening weekend. And I did a quick check on this, Wes. It looks like it was a $67 million budget. So Quiet Place is already at least close to getting in the black, accounting for marketing and everything, but surpassed the budget so far already. So
week 1 too, that's huge. You expect there to be a drop off, but still they should be in good shape for that.
Yep. And this was second in the first week box office behind Inside Out 2, which obviously is going nuts.
Killing it right now. Yeah.
6.8 out of 10 on IMDb with an 85-73 split on Rotten Tomatoes, and this is a 2.8 out of 5 on Google reviews, with 67% of Google users liking this movie. Some of these ratings I don't get at all.
Yeah, it's the third head of the dragon meme,
Yeah, but even like you look at the audience score, like that was 73%. That was shocking. Why?
Yeah, I know 73 feels a little low. Because like it just does so many things right. We'll get into it. And before we get to our scores, how was your theater experience?
It was awesome, and that was something I was gonna like. There's an aspect of it I wanted to touch on in the in our conversation, but it's honestly like I had a great time. What's really funny, Wes, is there like most people stayed quiet the whole time. It was a packed theater, but we had like one guy behind us who was making like those like, I don't know if they're called dad noises or like grown man noises, whatever it is, where it's the
clearing their throat. Yeah.
Like
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. There was like a guy, either a row behind us or two, who did it quite a bit throughout. And Lauren and I would look at each other like, what are you doing?
You can't talk.
Clean it up, man. Like
you're going to summon them. That was kind of funny because like I did have my mind incepted by the movie and be like, I can't make a sound right now because I'm in this.
100%.
But my theater was decently packed. The movie, the multiplex, if you will, as a whole, was very busy. Of course, I saw this Sunday afternoon. So it's summertime right now. Movies are. I'm sure everyone was there for Inside Out, but there were like kids everywhere. But this movie had a decent audience. Probably one of the bigger audiences that I've had in the probably last few movies that we've reviewed, and that's Furiosa, Civil War.
Yeah,
probably another big blockbuster in there that I'm missing.
I think Furiosa
Fall
had
Guy,
a pretty good sized one for me. I think it was better than Fall Guy for me, but this I did see Inside Out too.
Mhm.
That one did well, like from terms of my audience. This was not far off though. This was a smaller theater, but it was
Mhm.
like it still had like it was pretty. If it wasn't full, it was pretty close.
Now I did make a mistake here. Of course, I like to really cut it close with the cutting out of all the previews and everything. So it was like a 2:05 showing start time, but I figure there's like 25, 30 minutes of ads on top of the trailers as well. So I get there a little bit late, got stuck in some traffic. So I get there at 2:40,
Ooh,
and I get to the movie and get in my seat like right in the middle of the chaos erupting in New York City, and there's
oh,
like
jeez.
dust everywhere and everything, so like that was, and so was that like the opening scene? Did I miss anything else like major?
Yeah, you missed them kind of trying to establish Sam as a character and her relationship with Ruben, Alex Wolf's character.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Who is the caregiver?
she's like he's a nurse and she's at this
Like hospice center?
yes, it was a hospice
Yeah.
center. It was exactly what it was. So just kind of establishing her. She, you learn that she's writing poems. You don't know. Obviously, you learn later in the movie that she is a full blown poet, but you don't know that's exactly what her deal is. But it seems like she's got terminal cancer, and she's
Mhm.
like the one young person at this hospice center too. So it was kind of establishing her as being like frustrated with her situation, being knocking on death's door, and then you know uh, Alex Wolf as a character, or Ruben, I should say.
Okay. Okay. So not too much there, because I think I ended up picking up everything that I needed to at that point, other than the significance of Ruben and Samira. I thought they were dating at that
Mm,
point, or had some sort of like a relationship, friendship, or something.
yeah.
Um,
No, definitely not. She was very frustrated with him. And also Jimon Hansu had like him and his family had an appearance
okay.
or when they had gone to this theater and that's where we met him initially too. So you missed like maybe half of his time on screen
Yeah, I was gonna say, because
or
I
third.
only see him like in the rubble aftermath after they pull her in, and then at the very end on the boat.
It still
Um,
wasn't a lot more, but it was like if he had I don't know, if he had 10 minutes of screen time, that was maybe, I don't even think he had 10 minutes,
5
but
of it, yeah.
it was like a quarter of it probably.
Okay, all right. So yeah, that was a little bit of I'm rolling the dice there, playing with fire. That's what's gonna happen sometimes.
Mhm. Yeah.
But okay, so let's get into it. Our score in tweet length reviews, Nick. What do you got?
So I actually had this at a 90 when we were starting this review, but as we were talking some stuff through, I was thinking about this one aspect that bugged me a little bit. So I dipped it down to an 89, and we know how big that difference is between an A
It's a
minus
big
and a B
difference.
plus. Yep,
Yeah.
a great movie, still 89. You can't be too upset about that. So this is so damn good. I love that you can fully appreciate this movie without having seen the other two films, but at the
Hmm.
same time, you can have a heightened experience if you saw those first two. I mean, yeah, heck, I forgot one of the ties to the second one. But anyways, I would be stunned, Wes, if we don't get a fourth Quiet Place movie at some point following this one.
Yeah, I agree. I would be stunned if we don't, but I wouldn't be happy about it.
Mm,
It's like how much more can you draw blood from the stone here?
this is a
But
very
I
fair point.
think they will try.
I mean, what's the next option is like a Quiet Place, Europe or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
there's so
Or
much.
maybe it's like I don't know. Maybe they go on the offensive and then they eradicate all the aliens and then everyone
Yeah,
can yell again.
this is true. Or maybe like maybe something like that. You could do a 28 years later kind of situation or a different.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some like just looking at what 28 days later has turned into. Where now we're getting the third one.
Right.
I'd be, I mean, it only makes sense to do what you're kind of talking about.
And if it's already making money, that's probably putting on
Yep.
the inside track there to
Hmm.
do something else. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Nick. I gave it an 87. Like I said, I hadn't really seen much promotion for this movie, so other than knowing and having seen A Quiet Place, the first one, I didn't really know much about this. So I found this to be very enjoyable, surprisingly so. I thought it was perfectly timed, even though I missed maybe 5 or 10 minutes of the opening act there.
Hmm.
Um, but it's a high intensity bottle movie that blends like alien apocalyptic action with like nice touches of humanity throughout. I thought they did a
Yeah.
really good job of kind of peppering in those nice moments. And I thought Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn were great together
Yep.
in like an unlikely bond, kind of banding together with mutual interest kind of way.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is where like what I understand an 85 grading for this. because there are differences. Obviously, there are from the original Quiet Place movie, but at the same time, I could see how a critic would be like, "Yeah, they didn't go and like revolutionize things from the first one." Like, yeah, it's a lot. There are differences because of timing, family aspect, all this kind of stuff. But
Yep.
I can see how a critic would say that. I'm stunned at the audience giving it a 73.
Yeah, because again, I think for me, I think the time there's like no fat on this for us really. It kind
No,
of jumps right into it. You're along for the ride, and then you're like, oh shit, they're like already back at South Street Seaport, and like the movie's ending. And that's the other thing. Like, you kind of maybe the knock on it is kind of like what's going to happen because this is a prequel that leads directly into A Quiet Place, but this is like came out well after the fact, so you kind of know that it's like not going to be a happy ending necessarily, or they're not going to like come out and like defeat the aliens or whatever the case is. So like
maybe.
there is some parameters that you're kind of working around.
Actually, that's an interesting point where it's like it's like gonna be a sad ending for like Lupita Nyong'o's character,
And
1000%.
her as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She because of just the cancer stuff going into it.
Hmm.
Maybe
Hmm.
that's such a what your logic from assessing like why the scoring would be down makes a ton of sense. At the same time, like why would that why does that
Yeah.
bother people? Like if that's the case, like
Yeah, I thought it was a really good time. Like I said, it
yeah,
was fun. And again, if you're looking to, like beat the heat or you got a rainy day in the summer, like this is again like good teenage movie to go to. If you're like a teenager, you want to be scared a little bit but have some fun. Like I don't know,
mhm.
I think that's like right up their alley.
I feel like the range on this should have been like 80, honestly, like 85 to like maybe 91, something like it's a tighter range than I normally give, but I feel like that's where it
But
belongs.
73 is still fresh, right?
Yeah, I think 60 is still fresh, isn't there? 65?
Oh yes, yeah. So our
Yeah.
grading scale is just
Yeah. But
way skewed higher than that. Yeah.
yeah, well,
But let's dive in. What was the most rewatchable scene?
I think we're actually kind of in lockstep on this one. The scene at Patsy's was
Hmm.
just like when you talk about the human like heartwarming scenes, and I'm personally one who can there are some like when they're trying to be like when people are trying to be cute or cheesy in a movie and it's like supposed to be like a human moment. There are definitely times where I can eye
It could
roll.
be cringy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
But this was very, very well done. And I think that's partially because of the development of Joseph Quinn's character. And then I think on top of that, like you have with Lupita Nyong'o's character, very hard to please, but she has this one thing that she wants.
Hmm.
And then I think that, and then on the other end of the spectrum, the breakout, like when the herd of people, that whole attack scene was awesome.
That whole attack scene was really good. The Silent Magic show, I had like a stupid grin on my face the whole time because I thought it was just so sweet. And it's like again, like two strangers who really owe nothing to one another. But Sam is nice enough to let Eric kind of tag along because he has nowhere else to go. So he's just like, I might as well follow you around, and
Mhm.
you seem like you know what you're doing. And he's able to help her find a little happiness in her final days, which I
Yeah.
think is just a very sweet moment. They don't, like I said, they don't really owe anything to each other. They have no history, no background or anything, but yet they're still able to kind of carry out these like niceties with one another.
Yeah. It was I thought they did a great job and that scene was a perfect encapsulation of it. I mean that was the climax of it all.
Yeah, and the human herd scene there is just crazy. And it's like in real time, as like maybe just like seconds before they start showing all the instances of like all the feet on the ground, the rumbling of the gravel, and then like the suitcase getting pulled, and so all these little things. I'm like, they're going to be put into like a kill den.
Yep. I
And
mean,
it's like you could see it, and like, no, what a bad idea this is.
yeah, the only the only as I'm watching it, I was like, no, nope, you guys all go. I'm gonna hang back. I'm gonna take my chances, hanging back, and trying to stay quiet in the course. But you all go ahead, because
Hmm.
it's either you try and get there ahead of everybody else, in try and figure out what that plan is. But like you have to do that before the announcement. You can't do that like right when they make the announcement.
Hmm. There's too many way too many liabilities.
Either be way behind them or pray that you find a way to get lucky way after they leave, or just
Hmm.
assume they're all leaving and or going to die, because that's what happened. I mean, it was
Well,
brutal.
and this isn't too much of a spoiler. Of course, we're a spoiler-filled podcast,
Mhm.
but the whole thing of like the aliens not being able to swim. I mean, that's known through the first two movies. So you know this kind of going in as if you've seen any of the other previous two, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep. And they
why?
announced it too.
Yeah. But even like if you don't make the boat, I'm sure they're bringing them to like Brooklyn or Queens or mainland part of New York, maybe across the Hudson River or whatever on the other side. But why couldn't you just swim across the river? It's not that crazy.
Yeah, well, you're the New York expert here, so
People do that all the time, or not like all the time, but they have swims across,
Swim across. Okay, I mean, I know like part of it's like the whole thing's polluted, right? Isn't that
Yeah,
another...
but still, would you rather get into polluted water or
Nope.
get eaten by an alien? It's like
100%.
people go on like inflatables from Cuba to Miami. You know what I mean? Like that's like so when you're pushed to the brink, I think
Yeah,
you're willing to make some concessions.
100%. I do think that that crossed my mind as like if you swim across if you like need to. And it looks like Joseph Quinn's character swam kind of like halfway
At least
across.
halfway, yeah.
Yeah. So
With a cat, so it's not like he had full range of motion there too.
yep, that's true.
So yeah, that was kind of like my pressing question throughout. It's like, all right, well, you're not like that screwed. You're not that trapped. And in fact, you could probably like swim over to Randall's Island, which is in between. I guess that's the East River, between Queens and Manhattan. So you can kind of go in between there, and I'm sure that's like you're good there.
So we've turned into a geography podcast now, and you cut out on me, Wes. So that's why I'm talking because I don't know. There we go. Okay.
Yeah. You
Sorry.
can go to Randall's Island to be okay there.
Okay.
But pretty much like any monster or alien chasing was like really well done.
Yeah, no, I all of them were really well done. I know you noted the subway one, that was great.
Yeah, that was really good and creepy because again, you're wondering like, all right, well, how like this alien's about to test how well it can swim. So like, and then you're kind of like running out as the water's getting higher to the top of the subway closing. Like you're running out of real estate because he's running on the top of it, and it's like, all right, that's coming right for your head.
Yeah, that was and that's the thing with these aliens too. It's not just like, and this is established from the jump of the first Quiet Place movie. It's not like they're trying to, as far as we can tell, go after your brains or take over your body or anything like that. They're just there to off you as quickly as they can.
Yeah, that was kind of the weird part. Or maybe they get into this more in the second one, right? So it's like when Joseph's going out to get the medicine for Sam, and the cat runs off, and he goes into like a construction site, and he sees all the monsters like feeding. I thought those were like egg sacs almost, but it looked like
so too,
they were feeding on it. And that's one thing I noticed too. It's like they're not eating these people, like the people.
Yeah, no, they're not. But I think if you, I'd be willing to bet if you asked Krasinski, that's it doesn't matter because this is more about how the people survive it. But at the same point, like when you talk about unanswerable questions, what is their objective?
Yeah, what's their goal? What are they trying to do?
Is it world domination and that's it for no reason? Or
inhabit a new planet.
Yeah, but you're right. They're like it's unclear what their objective is.
What will age the best from this movie?
The theater experience. I mean, and you get that with the other Quiet Place movies as well. But at the same time, it's just like now everybody's very much in on it, and to the point where it's like when you hear other people making sounds, it's just like, the fuck you doing, man? Like, be quiet. I think this IP is also going to age immensely well.
Yeah.
If you make a fourth movie, great. If you don't, also great, because you have knocked it out of the park with these three.
Yeah, right. I think they're in a good spot right now. I would agree with that. I liked how they approached this movie and only following two people for the most part. Like I said, the cast and crew is so short. There's a version of this movie that I think gets bloated to like 2 hours plus when you're like bring in the president and the president's trying to scramble what to do and like kind of like save everything. And then you got this like gun-ho military general who's like, let's just nuke them all. And, you have kind of like a strategy of how to approach this where you don't really need that. This is, again, kind of showing about people surviving and the humanity of that and kind of in a little bit of a different way, right? Because, sharing the perspectives of strangers banding together as opposed to like the nuclear family unit banding together, which offers a whole different kind of perspective on that story.
Yeah, we see that plenty of times where you have like you're in this like apocalyptic world and you have this group of people and all these different individuals, and some are, losing their cool, some of them are staying composed. You have leaders and certain people lop off, and you're rooting for characters. That like you've seen that. And I think that goes back to what we're talking about with like what A Quiet Place is about. It's like, how do individuals handle this whole like scenario? That's, again, A Quiet Place 2 doesn't stand out in my memory quite as well, because I obviously remember Cillian Murphy and then Emily Blunt with the kids being in it, and being at the center of it all. But I don't really like the first one is very much about the family aspect. This is about individuals like trying to get it together, and just two of them like from the jump. How do we adjust to this scenario? The second one, I couldn't tell you exactly what they're honed in on. But that's because I saw it in theaters and I probably only saw it once. But
Yeah, I'd do that. I love them going with terminal cancer for Samira, and that idea of like staring death down in two different fashions, and then that making her kind of like impervious to fear once the aliens strike, because she's just already on death's door in a lot of ways.
Yep, they did a good job with that. Good job establishing it, really, and it played a lot into like who the character is and why she is the way he is, as much as maybe she hasn't always been that way.
And we agree on this one here. I see you have it as well, but the just Quinn and Nyong'o's performance, on-screen chemistry, facial acting or physical acting, I thought that was really effective.
They did a great job. And I know you like with Joseph Quinn specifically, you wanted to mention him. Like for me, like Lupita Nyong'o is established. The great movie for her still. For Joseph Quinn, I know he's supposed to be Human Torch, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, he's about to be a big movie star if things go right for him, because it's the Human Torch, and then I believe he's also playing Marcus Aurelius in Gladiator 2.
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, yeah, that's
I think that's both coming out, within the next year.
That's pretty massive. But yeah, I mean, coming off of being Eddie in Stranger Things, where he was just like this beloved character, and then steps into a very different role, but has a massive impact on the movie. I think this right here is huge for him in his development as a star.
I knew he was in Stranger. It took me about like 10 or 15 minutes of him on screen being like, where do I know him from?
I know
him from, because like he had the long hair. Like he doesn't, you can recognize the face, but the hair is not the same.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pretty drastic difference for him. Yeah, 100%.
And then lastly, just being like roughly 90 minutes.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to yell there. It flew.
Especially after you get these like 2.5 hour movies that we've been dealing with lately, which like a lot of movies tend to be. So like, I think that's just a nice touch. And if you can tell your story effectively under 100 minutes or right at 100 minutes or kind of right around there, kudos to you, because that's a great job. Now,
I know that Krasinski, did he write that Ryan Reynolds, Steve Carell movie that just came out? That was like the family, like it was like a kid's movie, like It or If or whatever.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
He wrote it. Yeah. So I know that, like, I don't think that one did all too well.
I think so as well. I didn't see it though.
But at the same time, like him like as a writer, at least from a horror standpoint, I mean, I got to think that this is also going to continue to age well. Like him, like if he comes up with a new idea, people are going to be listening.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's also John Krasinski as well. He's got a little bit of cachet behind his name too. I think he can get his foot in the door. In most production crew or production meetings
for sure. But I mean, it's just him is like, yeah, I get what you mean. But I guess my thing is like, I don't know. Who's someone that I wouldn't think is a writer? I mean, like Joseph Quinn. Like, I don't know if he has like writing background, and obviously he's done well in his first two movies, and he's on his way. But it's just, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to say, like, as a writer, like this, he's like, I'm going to continue to be interested if I see Krasinski as a writer for this genre.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a standout on his transcript, if you will.
100%.
If they're, if he needs to provide it, he's like, right this way.
I didn't catch that callback initially. Well done, sir.
What will age the worst from this movie?
This is why I dipped this down from a 90 to an 89 because I got to get it into that B range as opposed to the A range because of this scene. You mentioned it before where we see the aliens like feeding is what
Mhm.
it seemed to be. Again, I thought the same thing, like they were dealing with like their children or whatever at first. Either way, it's not so much about that as opposed to Joseph Quinn is trying to save the cat here in Frodo in this instance, and he is climbing this pole, and then he makes like a ding sound,
Mhm.
and we see the alien right next to him. Like it's not like the alien ran over; it was right next to him.
Yeah, it was below him essentially.
So I have no like I don't mind. I don't mind the sound. I don't mind like it's but with the alien right there, I, I don't know. They just didn't seem like there was enough noise going around, right? For it
Well,
to be like,
especially where what's his name? Wolf's character there
mhm,
rips his shirt. And granted, there was something, the generator was going to attract the monster anyway, but there was a quick silence there. And what seemed like ended up doing him in was the tearing of his shirt, the
yeah,
ripping and the tearing.
yeah.
Um, and that's so weird. And again, like what my question is like, what's up with these with the sound? And I kind of think this. I've had this similar thought when watching The Boys season 4 with like Homelander, where he can hear like essentially heartbeats when people are lying, but he
Hmm.
couldn't hear Huey in the Ducks until he did. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So but it's like the monster opens up, and you could see the like I guess eardrums, for lack of a better term, like all in his mouth,
Hmm.
trying to collect as much sound as he can. Um, to kind of hear like what's going on. And at that point, he can't hear a heartbeat. He can't hear like heavy breathing when
Mm.
it's right up next to you. I don't know, but they can hear a tear on a shirt. Like, yeah, a little inconsistent,
That
nitpicking.
yeah, that was but that for me, it felt like I don't know. It just it felt like more of a less of a nitpick because it's like this is
Well, for that one specifically, I
yeah,
agree. Yeah.
yeah, because like if you have the alien at a distance and then it hears you and then it rushes over, but then it stops because
Hmm.
it doesn't hear anything else. Maybe I can get behind it because it's like an ice like because where the way the ping is, but no man, when it's right next to you, like that thing's just jumping. It doesn't care. It's making
Hmm.
moves.
Hmm.
So that was like that to me I had to bring it down like an additional point because of that scene. It was just odd the way that was done.
What about? I hated the cat. Frodo the cat was awful, and just created a lot of unnecessary problems. I'm very thankful that it was a cat and not a dog because the dog would have screwed everything up. I'm a big dog person, but they're too clumsy. They would bark at the thing like a dumb idiot, and just ruin it for everyone. But I don't know, like, why keep the cat? You're like when she first gets pulled into that shelter, and like the cat almost like ruins everything.
I mean,
Like with the bell ringing, like how did someone else not kill the cat? Digimon Hansu there kills that guy right in front of his son for yelling, but they don't kill the cat for doing something a cat would do.
I think she would have left if they tried to kill the cat.
She
I think
left anyway.
well, this is true. This is true. I'm trying to remember the sequence of events, but yeah, I had fun with the cat. The cat was I mean I'm a cat person, so
I mean, it's an anxiety inducing. I'm not a cat
yes,
person as well, so
yes.
that's probably where the distinction comes. But
Mm,
it is a great level of like, I guess, levity in an otherwise like very tense movie, but also adds to the intensity of it all.
yes, yeah, that's exactly it. And
Yeah.
also like you don't have the I mean, you could have found a way to bring Joseph Quinn and Lupita Nyong'o together, but it makes their relationship like last a little bit longer after the fact too. It's not like just
Hmm.
you're saving her. It's like you're taking care of the cat too. So
Well,
like
yeah, and and like Samira is walking around with these tin cans in her bag. That's not going to make any noise. That's not clanking. Of the cat food.
oh
Um,
yeah yeah
I don't know. The cat goes wandering off in the middle of the city, doesn't get eaten, just happens to find everyone right when they need to. I don't know. It's
therapy cat though too. So I mean like
yeah. I don't know if cats can be trained like that though. Like dogs with therapy dogs and like
hmm,
service dogs, like guiding, other than like emotional support animals.
hmm
If that makes sense.
I think that's what it is, right? Emotional support. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I
But
don't
like
know how, I don't know how
like
that works.
some dogs like walk the blind or like take like
Right.
actually like help like
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know, immunocompromised or like disability people like get around the house and things like that.
Yeah. No. Well, no, I don't think cats can do that. But I think just
Yeah.
like
So the cat's expendable.
I think
Samira's terminally ill. She's like on the fritz, you know?
but I think also for her, it's like she's terminally ill, so it's like I want to spend my time with my only friend that I still have left in this world because
Yeah.
there's nobody
That's
else.
it's a little I get it. A little selfish. Probably she's probably earned it right, but that's a little selfish when you're dealing with like humanity coming to an end.
So okay, okay,
Because in theory, at this point in time, like everybody could be like, I'm gonna die. I want to do what I want to do.
yeah. I mean, that's what we definitely see. We see some of it.
A
Um,
little bit.
speaking of people doing what they want to do, that whole seaport scene, right? The what is it, the South Street Seaport Walk or whatever it was, like
Oh
with the
yeah, yeah,
herd,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
dude. The woman screaming, I want to say it was like John or Jonathan, but I'm probably wrong.
Yeah,
But
I
like
think
she
you're right.
screams in that. I mean, there's plenty of other people that are screaming, and I get that you're scared and it's terrifying and stuff, but like, uh, we know that sounds their thing.
Yeah.
Just her screaming like that's like, how dumb do you have to be? Why do you think that if you scream your friend or husband's name in that moment that you're gonna be fine? How is
Mm-hmm.
that productive?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think it's very poor. I'm very happy that we didn't see the kids anymore who Samira found underneath the water fountain. Very smart by the kids, by the way.
Ooh,
The
yeah,
little girl's a sweetheart, just like munching on the candy there. Very very sweet.
yeah,
But very smart on them to be underneath the waterfall to still be able to communicate underneath the sound of the water. Good
yeah.
on them.
Mhm.
But I'm happy they were just like blend in and we didn't see him again. Although you can presume that they're probably dead. But
That
as long as we didn't really like see that happen, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm really glad actually you're right that we did. I'm just glad they didn't become like a central part of the story because that would
Yes.
have
Yep.
we've seen that plenty of time where it's like
I agree.
adoptive parent and trying to take care of them and everything. We've seen that. We don't need that.
Yep. Yep. And it's they were in all honesty probably be worse than the cat.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
a
Yep.
bigger liability.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the so the herd of kids or people walking down South Street Seaport. This is like a New York City thing, but how fast Eric and Samira move up and down the city, going up
Hmm.
to Harlem from like all the way down to downtown where Seaport is. I don't know, kind of tough.
I trust you on that. I
We
'cause
don't know, how much time is passing, but it feels like they get there pretty quickly.
yeah. No, we have an idea of we have an idea. It's isn't it pretty much just 2 days?
I imagine.
When we have the one night that we see, and then they wake up the next day. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's just 2 days.
True. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's way too fast. You're talking about going like 100 blocks,
So, yeah, that's a fair
with,
point.
with a terminally ill woman who's like dying for fentanyl, just for a little bit of relief.
That's a good point.
So yeah, it makes it difficult, but
Oh wait, maybe was it 2 nights?
I
Because
mean,
they
either way, 2 nights
so
maybe, but
yeah, because they stayed at like that refuge or whatever, like the
yeah,
church, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. When they come up
So,
from the subway,
but still, I still think that doesn't. I'm just trying to get it right, but at the same time, it doesn't change that the validity of your point.
this is like an unanswerable question. What is the logic of blowing up the bridges? I think I know, but I kind of want to talk it out.
I think it's a good question. It's got to be their thinking is like you can't. Maybe they can't jump. They can't escape the island because they can't jump all the way across the bridges, and then they
Mhm.
know they've somehow found a way. Like water isn't their friend, so it isolates you to staying on the island.
But presumably, the rest of the mainland is also under attack as well.
This is true, but I guess
I guess if you want to limit the monsters that are on the island so they don't spread out, I guess.
maybe like quarantine, like it's keep it to like if you're on an island, like you got the monsters that you got, and that's pretty much it. And we don't want to add more mainland and have it.
Yeah, I'm just not sure if that's I picture it kind of like The Simpsons, where like the president who's supposed to be like an Arnold Schwarzenegger type gets like listed like a bunch of options. Like you can choose these 5 options to fix the world. and they're like, I'm not going to read them. I like number 3. Go with number 3. It's like, there had to be other options that you had to choose from. I was elected to lead, not to read. I think that's what he says, which is pretty good. I can't do an Arnold impersonation, but you get the idea. We talked about the monsters and aliens, sense of hearing. How about what you think of the ending? I think it's A New Day is the song. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, and it's gonna be fine. And she like pulls the music out, and she finally comes to grips with accepting her death.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like that?
Yeah, I thought it was good.
It felt like so different from the rest of the movie. It felt like it was very like on the nose and delivered to you like on a silver platter. It felt a little cheesy to me.
I could see that.
Or like the whole other movie felt like really as authentic as you can make a monster movie.
I guess for me it was like she's at her end. She's done a good thing. She saved her cat, saved her friend. And now it's like she's got.
I just mean more of like the music playing throughout, and then like playing over the speakers. It's like not like her actual like way of dying, but just like the music kind of playing, and then it's like it's playing in real life, but that's kind of like background music that's not really a part of the movie at the same time. I don't know. It felt a little cheesy. But her like that was the obvious route to go, right? Is to sacrifice herself for Eric to live, and then she's like, I'm dying anyway. So
and I will say the way that she saved Eric too might help the whole matter of that one scene that we were picking apart earlier where they're like doing the feeding or whatever, because she destroys she's running through and just
yeah, even then, like, so they don't have any sight at all, right? So like, so it's clearly just sound.
Yeah, but that's where. But you know what? Actually, no. Like, I'm wrong. It doesn't help that scene at all because we've seen like how they just always go to the loudest sound. Period. Nothing else. Yeah.
God, that's not really like a good monster.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be that monster.
I mean, that monster, it's great, but you would feel like in the hierarchy of monsters, like that wouldn't be one that would be, it's obviously higher on the food chain than us.
Yeah.
But like Predator, for example.
No, it's not. But it feels like realistic in a sense.
Alien.
Like you have like this. It's like, I mean, honestly, like we brought up like Daredevil earlier. It's like you have a bunch of aliens that have Daredevil's powers. That's really what it comes down to.
Kind of, right? Because like,
yeah, I mean,
if you like, he would be able to see the person moving from the spot where you just threw the rock through the car.
Yeah,
right.
He has like the sonar type radar.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly the same, but we've never seen. Yeah, they just go right to the sound. We don't know what it looks like for them if they have a level of vision.
How about the fourth movie is from the perspective of the monsters and aliens, and then we find out that they were like oppressed on their own world, and this is them trying to find a land of their own.
Actually, speaking of that, I gotta watch that. What's that? The serial killer movie that's like from the killer's perspective or something like that, or the slasher movie from the killer's perspective. It just went to on demand. I think.
That's it. See, I'm surprised that hasn't been done before.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited to see. I can't remember the name of it though. I saw a disgusting film tweet about it. But anyways, I digress.
We have a very heavy question here for the next one. We're going to get into our philosophical bag here.
Okay.
Which is more sad, death or dying?
So death being sudden,
like, suddenly. So like getting eaten by a monster, or in this case, like Samira, a prolonged death or prolonged dying, where you have like a terminal illness.
I think personally, if it happens to somebody else, death would be just instantly happening like that. Like that would be a lot to just like, you just see like a friend of yours or someone just boom, like instantly eaten up and like gone. You have nothing to say. You can't say anything to them. Whatever, they're gone. If you're the individual, I mean, I don't think you can get sad if it's just an instant thing. Like you have this moment of fear and then boom, you're dead. So it would probably be the dying would probably be sadder for you.
Yeah, I think it's dying is more sad because you have to go through all the stages of it. Yeah. And then you know how tormenting it could be for like the person who has it or you yourself. You do get the consolation prize of being able to uh, uh, come to closure with everyone in your life and be able to say your goodbyes and everything like that.
Yeah.
But the death thing is very painful and quick, and then you don't, and it's sudden. Like I don't know. That's a tough question.
It is tough. Yeah. I think in this world, like, I mean, I think
But to
there's
see
no,
someone wither, like there is something not noble, but something like good about a quick death. You know, like if you think back from like all the night movies or all the movies about like war, it's like he's earned a quick death.
yeah. I mean,
You know, so there is something like as a consolation prize, I guess. It's like you go out quickly, a slit to the throat, you bleed out quick, or something like that. You know, a gunshot to the head. Now, like if you're dealing with family and stuff like that, you don't get those goodbyes, but there is something that is like maybe peaceful
yeah. If you're
about
talking,
that.
yeah. I
Uh,
mean, no, you raise some fair points. I mean, it's just like you don't want to go through this, like, you don't want to have your quality of life just, destroyed. But then you're also talking about like how long are you living? Like if you're dying, but you've been able to you're still able to live for a while. Like let's say you're our age and you're dying, as opposed to like getting a quick death at our age. Like, you
that's
know,
pretty. Yeah, that's pretty awful.
yeah, like I'd rather have the former of the two options, just because it's just like, at least I have a little more time, get some
Oh
ducks
yeah.
in a row and whatever. But if it's like instant, I mean, again, in this world, you know, in the quiet place world, I don't know, man.
Yeah, and I even think like if you are in a gang or a mob boss, right? Like if you did something really bad to cross them, you're getting tortured. You're not getting a quick death. Like you're
That's
getting it drawn out there, and you're literally going to be dying in the worst way possible. You know, and
that's a different
if
story.
you ask the question like, would you rather be burnt to death or drowned or something like that, it's like most people don't want to choose those answers. It's
Right.
like, how would you like, what's the best way to die? And be like, I don't want something that's going to drag out. Like, I want
No.
it to be quick and painless.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, the definitely, like, yeah, this is, I
I
think
don't
that
know.
I think it's all a matter of, I don't think there's a
It's
simple black and
preference.
white. Yeah. Yeah, there's not, it's not just like simple black and white.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. But, that's life's, that's a big question there.
This movie asks that question in some
It
capacity.
does.
So well done, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. In this situation, I would just like, if I was Samira, I would just scream. I would just go somewhere by myself and just be like exactly like she did, but much earlier.
Yeah, I guess my only thing is I mean, I kind of like the way she went about, where it's like, try and get my last thing, what I want, what I need, and then whatever happens after that,
But the
I'm good.
legitimacy, like you're seeing the world around you, like you're literally seeing these giant
Yeah.
bugs, for lack of a better term, like destroy the world
Mhm.
around you, and you're like, no, there's got to be a pizza place that's still open. Like it's kind of insane.
That is true. Let me ask you this. If that was you, and like that final scene that you were talking about before, where she like
Hmm.
plays the music, do you know what song you try and go out on?
Oh,
That's a tough one. Because I feel like it would very much be like depending on the moment kind of thing. I know I'd go rock, that's for sure.
yeah. It would kind of be mood dependent. It would probably be something Kanye. Devil in a New Dress with Rick Ross, one of my all-time favorite songs. But maybe it could be something funny, maybe like something ironic that only I would know, like a Laffy song or something like that, or like I don't know what's another kid's song,
Actually, I think the song I was just it was
Wheels on the Bus, and just like something like that, and be like, oh, that's a nice little joke to go out on.
uh,
Weird Al Yankovic.
there you go. There you go. Go out on a laugh.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, okay. But I would go out on rock right now. I've been listening to a lot of Alter Bridge lately. I just don't like, but that I don't know. I can't pick a specific song. That'd be tough.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
so
a good
Kanye
one.
for you. Okay.
I thought you were going to ask me what would be my pizza. Like, what would be the one thing that I need to go out and do before dying?
Wow, that's a tougher question, because
Yeah.
that's dependent on where you are. So
Hmm. The beach comes to mind. Going for a swim. That might be I might just help myself there, at that point, if it's really the situation of A Quiet Place,
Mm.
just might protect myself a little bit. But the swim in the ocean would be nice. I don't know. That's food, like I guess pizza. Like I love pizza, but not like that.
No, but the problem is like getting the other foods would probably be really challenging. Like pizza,
Yeah,
you could see like how they like
that
how
is achievable. Yeah,
yep, and it may
this
hold a little longer.
this might be something that will age the worst for me, but I'm kind of over like New Yorkers' obsession with their New York pizza. Like you don't understand. New York pizza is it's good, but you know what I mean. There's like it's great,
Yeah.
but it's like all right, it's still pizza at the end of the day. Like,
I mean, I enjoy New York pizza, but it's like I've never understood the like, oh my god, this is the
yeah,
greatest
you
thing
don't have to like build a personality around it.
ever. Yeah,
Like New
that's a good,
York, we got like New Haven has better pizza than you.
yes, yep, 100%.
Some might say Chicago. I wouldn't, but some might say that.
I would say it's a whole different thing. It's a subset conversation within itself. If you want to say the Chicago versus Detroit, which I don't think I've knowingly had Detroit, but Goo's a big Detroit pizza
Yeah,
guy.
it's like Sicilian pizza with the sauce on top. I think that's the only difference.
Okay, I don't
So
know.
it's like a little thicker bread and it's square.
I should try it and just for the sake of comparison. But anyways,
Yeah. I have NA for this category, but who had the best performance by a side character?
this is a tough one because like you really don't have side characters like we were saying
Yeah.
before. So technically, I'm gonna give it to Frodo, the cat, but at the same time, like third billing in this movie, really.
Yeah, I know it. Right. I hope the cat was well compensated. I am not a cat enthusiast, so I will be abstaining from this. But I was happy that the cat lived. Good for the cat.
That's that. Look at you. That's
I
so
will
nice
say
of you to
that,
say.
you know.
Wow, I am surprised. Look
But
at
that
that.
you just know that cat would have like swatted and like tried to like go at Eric's eyes at one point or another.
I mean, not if it's well trained to be like a therapy.
I guess
cat
so.
murder.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, I love my cat. She stays inside all the time.
Mhm.
That would be what like saves her. But if she was out in the world because of what's going on, she ain't making it. 'Cause
Yeah.
she's too vocal. So she's well behaved otherwise, but she's way too vocal. So it just wouldn't work. Although when she's scared shitless, she's very quiet. But I don't like she's not trained like that. So
Mhm.
that's the big difference.
Yeah. Okay. All right there. Who lost the movie?
Ruben, Alex Wolf's character.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I see him, I'm always like, God, this guy. Every time
What
I
else
see
is
him,
he in?
I know he's an old.
Oh, the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah, which was we did a review on that. We did that for the people, so that way you
Mhm.
didn't have to watch it because that was not great. He's in Jumanji, like the Kevin Hart
Yeah.
Jumanji. He's in Patriots. I actually never saw. He was in Oppenheimer.
Oh, apparently everyone was in that movie.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I don't know who lost this movie for me because again, like it's really just Eric and Samira. I guess Humanity. Humanity's a big loser. They're
Good.
about to be like really big losers in this.
Great point. Yep, that's Humanity.
Who won the movie though?
So I think it's down to three people.
Mhm.
I know you have Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn on your radar. I do think for
Yes.
John Krasinski, this is a massive one because this is an IP that he came up with and he was in the first movie and it's just further established like I don't need to be in this. I can write and now, he's a family man and everything. Maybe he
Mhm.
wants to do more writing. I know you said it before, like John Krasinski could probably go in and say, I have this movie idea. Boom. Like, they're going to be interested. But now, specifically from the horror genre, I just feel like it's an even easier sell where he doesn't also have to be in the movie, too.
Yes. Yeah. He's earned some stripes here for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So mine were Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn, similarly, but kind of for different reasons. Lupita Nyong'o is great. I think I just wanted her to be in more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to see more of her because I think she does such a good job of here. And credit to her for going through the body transformation of like actually like putting in the work to look like a terminally ill cancer patient.
Mm-hmm.
Because we talk about that all the time, whether that's like Christian Bale bulking up or losing all that weight like he did in The Pianist or pianist. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, but we don't really see that all the time with women. I felt like Margot Robbie gained some weight for who's the ice skater? The ice skater movie. Nancy Kerrigan and
why am I blanking on the?
But that whole story. I felt like she gained some weight.
Tanya Harding.
Tanya.
Tanya.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
And then I think also Charlize Theron in Monster maybe gained some weight as well, but you don't really see that too often on the actress side of things. So one way or the other. So I thought she did a really good job there. And then for Joseph Quinn, again, I think, he's the only other thing that I've seen him in has been Stranger Things. And that felt like, although he was kind of like a big takeaway for a lot of people, definitely a supporting side character role. I think this is about him as a leading man taking that first step. And maybe this is like the major introduction for a lot of people, Joseph Quinn, ahead of Fantastic Four, ahead of Gladiator 2.
I think that Joseph Quinn's role, now that I think about it more, his role is, I think, in movies is the character that I'm usually like, okay, this guy, like, he's just like the sad sap who's helpless and everything. But also, like, Krasinski didn't just make him a helpless sad sap. Like, he had a heart, and he was a capable human being in some capacity. He wasn't the most capable individual ever, but he figured it out along the way, because he's a law student. I mean, it seems like he's not, he can't be too much of an idiot, one would think. So,
well, there's book smart and street smarts, right?
Yeah, I'm like, that's why I'm trying. Like, yeah, you're right. You're right. But either way, like, he's not that character where it's like,
no, he's not helpless. He does like get braver as the movie goes on, right? He's like, so he is capable of like kind of carrying his load,
but not too much of a stretch where he turns into like Rambo in this movie.
Right.
So it's just, he did a really good job, and he was written well too. But Joseph Quinn, like, very different from Eddie, and did just equally as good of a job, I would say.
Yes. All right. Any last licks on Quiet Place Day 1?
Nope.
All right. Well, Nick gave it an 89. I gave it an 87. That's a CMM aggregate score of carry the 6 and 1, and that's 88.
Look at you, math.
Nailed it.
Amazing. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah. So hopefully that leaves you with enough change to grab a ticket for the Discharge Depot.
Choo-choo, bitches.
All right, you are all caught up on a couple of majorly talked about shows.
Yes, all caught up on The Acolyte, all caught up on The Boys. I have not watched a second of The House of Dragon yet. Have you watched any of that one?
I haven't seen the most recent episode. I've seen the first 2. It's good, but more so than Game of Thrones, I can't keep track of who all the characters are just because they're all blonde.
Yeah, that and then the time jumps that they did in the course of it all didn't help initially, in recasting and what have you. But
no, absolutely.
So I'm like, well, I'll watch it at some point. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna do an episode on it. So if we plan to, then definitely gonna have to watch it. But The Acolyte we won't be doing because you don't watch.
I'm not a Star Wars guy.
Right, you only do the movies. And then The Boys we will be doing an episode on when that wraps up.
For sure.
Crazy season as expected. They all have been. But The Acolyte, this one I was very excited because we're like, it seemed like we're getting Old Republic stuff. Maybe we get some more dark side type of stuff. And it's not, when I first heard the announcement, I expected it to be like, we're solely focusing on the dark side and that is it. It is not that. Very much not that, but at the same time, the dark side stuff that we have going on is really cool. Like the main villain, they do a great job. I knew, unfortunately, because I waited so long to watch it, I knew who it was, like, because they try and hide it the whole way. And then in episode, I think 4 or whatever it was, they ended up revealing who it was. And I still enjoyed it, having had that spoiled for me already, and that is on me. That character is so fucking badass.
Is that the Sith with the smiling helmet?
Yes. Yep.
It's a pretty cool helmet.
Dude, they have some of the, like, when this is all done, or maybe they already have it now, it would be worth your time to like look up the like just the lightsaber fights from this season, just for what you get in episode 5, because they got some crazy stuff in there. I
saw one clip of like him headbutting and breaking a lightsaber, which I thought was kind of cool, and like some like 3-way battle.
Yes, he like we've never seen that kind of thing before. I know we've seen Beskar metal in Mandalorian being able to combat lightsaber stuff. I've never seen that. I saw people on Twitter talking about like how it is an established thing and so on, because we saw a Jedi in this in one of the episodes do that as well, where he like
Mhm.
it might have been in the same episode. So yeah, there is they do a lot of cool shit, and I love the opening bit with so we have is it Amandla Stenberg, the main character. She's playing two
Yeah,
individuals,
yeah, yeah.
sisters, as May. Her fight sequence against what is her name? Carrie Ann Moss. Like awesome. Like I don't get me wrong, like we do see Carrie Ann Moss pop up in flashbacks and stuff. I would have liked to see more Carrie Ann Moss as a Jedi. I think she's got like a great, like, once again, Star Wars like taking either castings or characters that are cool and kind of like getting rid of them way too quickly. But at the same time, it was a great scene for May. Carrie Ann Moss was good in her like little bit, but I would have liked more of Carrie Ann Moss. But her Daphne Keene was like, she had some cool action as
Oh,
well.
she's in it, huh? X-23?
Yep, she's in it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool shit. Like a lot, like the action in this is pretty top notch.
Okay.
Yeah,
So a lot of people have been hating on this show, though.
I know, and Wes, I'm baffled by some of it. I really am. Like the complaining about like there's like a witch coven, which we know is a thing in Star Wars,
Mhm.
and the way it's like, I understand like there's a level of like it seems there was like a force birth type situation, which is only Anakin in the
Mhm.
quote unquote Skywalker saga. This is for me, it's like this Star Wars has been around like this. It's essentially this universe has been around forever. So like that can't ever happen ever outside of that, and it's just
Yeah,
it's on so quickly.
this comes in like I've definitely been guilty of this when it comes to like Marvel or maybe even some like DC Batman stuff. Like where I'm more familiar with like the history
Mhm.
or the background or the source material or whatever. But hearing like grown men or grown women like complain about, oh well, it's not canon or this happened and now it's not this, and like getting like upset about it, it just looks really fucking stupid. And like if that's what I sounded like in complaining about some of these Marvel stuff, then I apologize. That's not the person that I want to be.
I don't feel like you talk about canon stuff whenever you're
Oh,
complaining.
but like, oh,
Yeah,
well, they should have been this or it should have been
yeah.
that or whatever. Uh,
But it's like, but we've talked about it before. Like Star Wars fans just get so like angry about stuff, and it's just like
yeah.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of cool shit in this show, and like I was talking about, and my dad actually started watching it before me, and he was like, they get like he's quote unquote spoiled it for me, but it's like the first scene of the movie of the show where Carrie Ann Moss dies. And he's like, they get rid of her right away, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see more of her, but
Hmm.
for the story, like with that character, like it obviously makes sense. It's just maybe different casting in a way and use her elsewhere, but it's just this. I don't know. I think it's really cool, and again, I love the Sith character. Like I instantly, I'm like, you know how I am. I have a ton of action figures. I was like, I need this guy's shit for sure.
The helmet's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get a replacement for the Magneto helmet.
Ooh, that would be. I
There you
don't know
go.
if the missus doesn't care about any of the stuff I buy by and large. At the same time, that mask, she'd probably be terrified by that thing.
Well, maybe after date night, you come home, you do what couples do, and then you just strip down and nothing but the helmet. And then like who wouldn't be swooed by that?
Oh yeah, of course. Yes, I got to get as yoked as the Sith too, because he is fucking jacked. I don't want
Yeah,
to say who it
or
is for anybody.
just get a muscle suit.
Yeah, there you go. I don't want to say who it is, like who the character is for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. But if you have managed to avoid that spoiler on Twitter in this whole time, God bless you, because I don't know how you do that. But
Right. Well, yeah.
anyways, I'm all caught up. What have you been up to since we last convened?
Just went to New Orleans last week for a little work trip. So I was hoping, I might have a little bit more energy in time to kind of go out and like peruse the French Quarter and everything. I walked down there during the day and checked out like Bourbon Street and Canal Street and everything. Just cool. The city, if I were to judge it on the whole, it felt a little dirty. Little, where I was staying, it was in I guess the quote unquote warehouse district. So it was kind of like area of town that was like under construction perpetually, trying to like, much like Fall River or New Bedford, like taking old warehouses or factories and like trying to turn them into like mixed use properties or like residential, commercial, that type of thing. So, it looks like it's kind of under some development phases there. Food was great. Food was a really good time.
That's good, at least.
Yeah, and that's about it. And I got sexually harassed by the TSA, both on my arriving and my departing flight. So, yeah, there we go.
You did.
I felt like like Cinderella, like someone was like trying to fit me with a glass slipper.
That is so weird that your volume just cut out on me for some reason there.
Yeah, I don't know. I must have hit something with my foot.
It was almost like it was too convenient of timing.
Yeah, the TSA is watching.
Yeah.
No, it's like, I that used to never happen to me. And like, I don't know why. I don't know if I just like freaked out these TSA people by like, I don't know, being by myself or something, but they're like, you're going to get felt up. We can go into like a private room and do this, or we can do it right here.
They never said why?
It's like, they say it's like random.
Oh, and it happened to you twice?
Yeah.
Obviously,
it didn't feel random to me.
No,
but the first time I was like kind of running late. Like I just got there, like not super late. Yeah, I got there maybe like with 20 minutes to spare.
You trying to miss out on the trailers again?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But so I'm like, just do whatever you gotta do, man. I gotta get through here. So like they just went through and whatever. But it's it's TSA.
Well, when I travel fairly soon, I'll be on watch for that, because if they did it to me too, then we know that they're listening to us.
Yeah, they're targeting, middle-aged podcast hosts.
Mm-hmm. They don't want us changing any more minds.
No. We're too powerful. Mind gurus here. Next week, next couple of episodes, we got that planned out here. Next week, we're going to do an original versus sequel debate between A Quiet Place and Quiet Place Day One.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have fun there. What else do we have after that? A vacations episode, vacations rankings of best vacation movies.
Yes,
because Nick will be going away. So we're going to be celebrating vacations there.
Yes, excited for that.
And then we have The Boys season 4, Deadpool 3, and then to kick off August, we're going to do a Twisters original versus sequel debate as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the next 5 episodes in the bag here.
Yep, we got a lot of good stuff coming up. I'm glad that we have no shortage of things to talk about, no shortage of new shows and movies.
Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, I got my birthday episode coming up at the end of August here. Potentially D2 the Mighty Ducks. Have we done D2 the Mighty Ducks?
I think we did an original versus sequel.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll think of something there, but I'll have to think of a childhood favorite.
Nice. Yes, I very much like the sound of that. Or if you want to do a debate on childhood favorites, whatever floats your boat.
Oh, now we're thinking here. Okay, I'll get something tickling in the tickler file. Is that what they say?
I don't know about that.
I'm not sure either. But as always, as we say here, we'll be back. Same bat time, same bat place.
Roadhouse.